let's talk SRAM. So SRAM has been doing some interesting stuff over the past, I don't know, year or so. Like their new Maven brakes, their axis transmission, even some of their suspension stuff. Let's start with the Maven brakes. If you know me, I'm not a big fan of SRAM brakes. Just never really liked the feel, and personally I'm not even a big fan of the look of SRAM brakes, although these new Maven brakes look interesting, especially with the caliper, the like whole titanium, and it's just like a bit of a different shape that SRAM has taken. And honestly, I think that red color caliper is actually looks pretty good. But the more interesting thing is their power. Supposedly they're supposed to be the SRAM's most powerful brake, better than their code, which I think is their enduro downhill brake or whatever it is. And they're saying to go down in rotor size. Like I got 203 front and rear because I'm a big chunky boy, but they say to start on their organic pads and smaller brake rotor. So they would probably like recommend me like a 180mm rotor, which is pretty interesting. And also they talked about heat. They said heat can be good, and I kind of agree with that because you know, mostly companies have said heat is bad because it can cause brake fade, which is true, but you still need some heat in the brake, especially with metallic pads like I have. It's like if you took it like I guess like a track car with some racing brakes, they do need heat in them to start working properly, although you don't want too much heat. Like if you have too much heat, then your brakes will fade over a long descent, and you don't really want that happening because then they won't really work properly. They recommend you start on organic pads and smaller rotors and then go up from there if you need to. Alright. Second thing is their transmission, or new axis transmission. They say it shifts better under load. Like personally I haven't tried it, but they say it's shifts better under load, and a lot of people have said that, which is kind of going against what I guess we've learned with not shifting under load, like letting off the power a bit to shift. Like even with Shimano, like they've gotten better, like with the Hyperglide and Hyperglide Plus, that you can shift under more power and it'll still shift smoothly. Although SRAM with their new transmission actually recommend you shift under power and say it shifts smoother under more power. So I guess it would be pretty good on like e-bikes because they can like put a lot of power through the drivetrain. So then I guess the axis will shift better. And also I think it was also like with the previous generation where when you shift or press the button, it will like maybe delay the shift slightly, so go up on the like little ramps that are like I guess riveted onto the cassette. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And I guess on e-bikes they're making it like auto shift, so like goes in with the system and it kind of auto shifts or shifts for you like a car. I have mixed feelings about that. Like, on one hand, I guess it's pretty good for beginners, but then like for more advanced riders, like they would want to know what gear they're in at any point. So then like they may have like in their mind what gear they're in, so then they can like accordingly shift. It can be pretty good, I guess. I just have a bit of mixed feelings about it. I think that'll do it for the transmission. I may get it at some point, but at the moment I just don't have enough money for it. So that's another thing, like it can be pretty expensive to get the transmission. Anyway, let's go on to suspension. As you probably know, SRAM kind of like owns RockShox now, and like with their super high-end flight attendant stuff, like they pair really nicely with the Axis drop post and the new Eagle transmission. It's like live, it's kind of like live valve, where it like locks the suspension when it thinks there's not much bump, or when it senses not much bumps, or it opens it up when it detects bumps. But we've kind of already seen that from Fox with the live valve, but I kind of want to talk more about the adjustability with their fork and their shock. They still do have high and low speed compression, but and like the rebound down at the bottom, but what they've done is kind of made it simpler by taking away clicks and making the clicks more noticeable, so it's kind of easier for beginners to, or people who don't know as much about suspension setup, to set up their suspension. And I found it pretty helpful, and even before like I had this and understood more about how to set this up, like I did find having all the clicks on high and low speed compression and high and low speed rebound, like on the Fox factory series, I did find that a little confusing with how to set it up. But with this, it's actually very simple. With like 4 click on the forks, it's 5 clicks of high speed compression, and I think 14 clicks of low speed compression, and then on the rear it has 5 clicks of low and high speed compression, which may be, or is probably less than Fox, but it just is more noticeable like between the clicks, and also I guess faster and just simpler to set up. And also the buttercups, at least of what I'm aware of, there's no other suspension that has something like this. And like from coming from like other fork without it, it is very noticeable. Like on long descents, I used to have like a lot of arm pump and a bit of fatigue through, because of like the vibrations coming up through the fork. But with this new Zeb, with, or even Lyric or Pike with buttercups, I don't really feel that vibration, at least not as much, and my arms are a lot less fatigued at the bottom of a run. Like, it's not completely not fatigued, but just a lot less with the buttercups inside of it, which is just like a little gold thing in the bottom of the RockShox's high-end suspension. It's like a little rubber piece that takes away the vibration. Now with the rear shock, with their coil. Mostly it's, and their Vivid Air, you have an externally adjustable hydraulic bottom out. I know there's other suspension that has it, but not exactly like this. I think with other really high-end boutique suspension, it has that, the hydraulic bottom out, but it's more of like a air kind of thing instead of like a little externally adjusted Allen key like this is, and it's like a little purple thing there, and that's pretty cool. As a bigger rider, I do find it very helpful, and I think because of that I haven't noticed, at least I haven't noticed any bottom outs, and definitely not any like harsh bottom out, so that definitely works. So I think I'll end the video there. So like, subscribe, trade hard, got a little skill. Let's talk SRAM. Shit. Let's talk SRAM. So yeah, like that's pretty interesting, and they recommended starting on metallic and smaller rotors. No, not metallic. They recommend you start on organic rotors. What the fuck am I saying? They recommend you start on organic pads and smaller rotors, and then go up from there if you need to.
Driving